EIN. Do not pay for an EIN. EIN numbers are free. Hey, it's me, Brittany, coming in today to talk to you guys about step 2 in this 5-part series when it comes to starting up your own business. So, step number 2 is going to be business and finances. Now, what we're going to talk about today is the structure of your business, obtaining your EIN number, touch more onto license and permits, but not really in depth because that kind of depends on what type of business you have. So when it comes to the business's legal structure, you have 3 main structures. You have your sole proprietorship, you have your LLCs, and you have your partnership and all that fun stuff. So when it comes to a sole proprietor, that means that you are basically, you and the business are one. There's no really true separation. You can do a doing business as, but you need to legally still set it up as, well, let me back that up. DBA is doing business as, for anybody that didn't know. So basically when it comes to a DBA, you'll have your top legal structure, which would be your partnership, your LLC, or your sole proprietorship. That name. For instance, I'll use me. I have Be The Brand. Be The Brand is my top umbrella business basically, and under the umbrella is going to fall my other business ventures such as Be Creative or like this YouTube channel, and soon to come my podcast. So those will all fall under doing business as Be The Creator, my podcast, etc. But they'll all fall up under the LLC, which is Be The Brand. Now that's different, that's tiers of structuring, but we'll get into that another time. But basically what a sole proprietorship is, there is no separation between you and business. You are that business is you. Whatever you make, you report to the on your taxes. And I do have to put this disclaimer in there. I am not an accountant. I am not a CPA. You should go talk to someone. I'm not a professional. I can kind of be a professional. Not really. We're not even gonna say that. I am not a professional. I am not your guide. This is all my opinion. Sole proprietorship is a good place to start. But once your business starts making, I would say, $3,000 to $5,000, your legal structure should move to an LLC. Why? Because now this LLC becomes its own entity. Sole proprietorship, the business is you, like I said, and you are that business. Once you go to LLC, you've now created a separate entity, and you also are protecting your personal assets. So I started all my businesses off as LLCs. I didn't even want to go into the realms of, it can get kind of sticky depending on what you're doing. If you're selling coffee mugs or something like that, t-shirts, there's not really a lot of, what's the word that I'm looking for? There's not a lot of pitfalls that come with that. A lot of people really can't sue you over a t-shirt or a coffee mug. But if you're performing services, you definitely want to be under the category of LLC or some other legal structure, because you need to be separate. Because your entity, that legal structure, your business, it needs to be insured. That's another tidbit in here. Your business needs to have business insurance. No matter what the business is, you should always have coverage. General liability, you can personalize your insurance. You can Google all that if you want to know more in depth. There are plenty of YouTube videos on business insurance, but that is something that every business should have, especially if you are performing any services to people, or especially if you probably want to make sure you have business insurance if you're making any product for people too, because lawsuits are lawsuits. I'm not a lawyer, but lawsuits are a thing. You can get sued, and a lot of people don't realize about the insurances that may have covered certain things. You don't have insurance, so guess what? If you're a sole proprietorship, they're going to sue you and the business. If you're an LLC, they're probably just going to be able to sue that business. But anywho, go talk to your lawyer about all of that. You should always have you a lawyer and an accountant somewhere on standby, even if they are not retained month to month. In the beginning of any of your businesses, no matter what the legal structure is, go and talk to an accountant and go and talk to a lawyer. They may offer free consultations. You have a lot of people that are online, like Instagram and all that stuff. I've seen a lot of them start posting on there. Make sure you do your homework, your research, see if they have reviews, see what people are saying about them. Do your research, but you should definitely have a lawyer and an accountant, and do not to be cheap with those. You can be cheap with a lot of things, website bills, all that fun stuff, but when it comes to the legal and financial part of your business, you need to have all your T's crossed and all your I's dotted. Point blank, period. Proprietorship, we went over. LLC is your separate. It separates personal and business. When you get into partnerships, that's when two people come together. You have a limited liability partnership, which is like an LLC, but it has those limited liabilities on you and your partner, as opposed to a regular partnership. That's just you two are basically like sole proprietors, basically coming together to say, hey, we got this business together. It's 50-50. We make all of our decisions 50-50, and so forth and so on. Then you have two other structures. You have an S Corp and a C Corp. C Corp, talk to the accountant about that, because that's a whole other monster in itself. S Corp, however, once your business starts making $50,000+ a year or more, you need to talk to your accountant about S Corp versus LLC, because for tax purposes, this is where a lot of those big businesses get to cut in and not pay as many taxes and all that fun stuff. That's when they come in. That's when those structures really matter when it comes to taxes. And also, another tidbit with an S Corp, and I believe with a C Corp as well. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But with an S Corp, you then have to make yourself a W-2 employee. And saying that, you're gonna have to pay your employee taxes on yourself or whoever you hire. You also, I just lost my train of thought. Lost my train of thought. That's so weird. My brain just went bloop. So when it comes to S Corps, tax purposes, to get into tax loopholes, well, I wouldn't say loopholes, but to get more tax breaks, the biggest difference between an LLC and an S Corp is the taxes that you pay on it. Oh yeah, I remember what I was saying now. So when you are paying yourself a W-2, you also have to, back that up. When you become an S Corp, you're gonna have to pay yourself a wage and become a W-2 employee. Now, you can't just pay yourself $3 an hour. No. When you become an S Corp, you have to pay yourself a livable, realistic wage. Which means if your company is making $100,000 or $200,000 a year, you need to be paying yourself a livable wage, at least minimum wage, but it has to be a livable wage. Now, when it comes to LLC and S Corp, you can pay yourself from either one. More with S Corps, you usually do like more of an owner's draw, But those things is something that you need to discuss with an accountant. Point blank, period. You can look it up. You can try to DIY it, but when it comes to structuring and financials, like I said, you always want an accountant. Now, EIN. Do not pay for an EIN. EIN numbers are You want to make sure you go ahead and register with your state, whichever state you're in, registration. And it takes them usually a week or two to get back to you to tell you, hey, we've accepted it, or hey, no, you got to do something different. Secretary of State Corporations Division, you'll do an annual registration, but the first time you sign up, it's going to cost you between $100 to $300 to $500. It depends on what state. I think like in California, it's like way more expensive. But here in Georgia, it's only $125, and I think in Florida it's $100. Because I have a business registered in both of those states. I don't really know much about either other state, but in these two states it's really easy. You can go online, file everything you need to online. If you need help with that, trust me, there are plenty of YouTube videos that will walk you through the steps, and you just file, wait to hear back, and then they'll usually send you an email stating yes or no, and if they do, you'll get this little paper that you can print. I printed mine out from the state saying yes, you've been approved for this, da 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 da. Every year you'll probably have to pay about 50 or 60 bucks to renew. Well, actually I lied. You pay 20 in Georgia, it's $20 to renew. I think in Florida it's $20 or $30 to renew every year. I think I discussed that in planning. EIN numbers are free. Do not pay for an EIN unless you're doing estate planning, which will go through the bank. I know this because I worked in banking. All business EINs are free. Free. What is the EIN number? It is your business's social security number. All right, so once you get that done, you'll have your structure, you'll have your business registered with the state, you'll have your EIN number, and bam. If you want to keep up to date with your books, your bookkeeping, I would suggest, I use QuickBooks. It also can track your mileage. You can plug in all your receipts and all that fun stuff. You plug it in. I have my Square connected to it and my business bank account connected to it. And I see everything right there on QuickBooks. They let you kind of section things out. Also with QuickBooks, if you get an accountant, usually you can add your accountant into QuickBooks and they'll be able to see everything, which makes everything so much simpler because they'll be able to see your transactions. You don't got to take this stack of receipts, all that fun stuff. So make sure if you wanna keep up with your bookkeeping, you can pay somebody for bookkeeping, which I'm probably about to do within the next month or two because certain things I just don't want to. It's a lot, okay? I've DIY for the past 3 years and yeah, I'm about to start paying people to do this stuff because there's a lot. But at least I know my business in and out. I know what they're looking at. I can see what they're looking at. Yeah, so I will always preach to everybody, know your business first, which is why I tell most business owners, do it all yourself at first. Unless your business literally like within a month or two goes from making like $1,000 to $10,000 to $20,000 a month, okay, then go get you an accountant right then and there. But if your business is starting small, learn all your things when it comes to business. Learn everything first. That way, once you get help, you'll know exactly what they're talking about, what you're looking at. You don't got to worry about anybody playing with your numbers because we've seen upteen times the amount of like celebrity or rich folks that have had accountants do some funny stuff. That's why I say research your accountant as well or your bookkeeper as well. Make sure you know them. Like not know them personally, but you know who they are, their company, if they're, yeah, all that jazz. So that's basically it for business. Now, when it comes to financing, you do want to open, once you get that EIN number, which you should get, it takes literally, EIN number takes like 2 seconds to do. Once you do that, then you can go ahead and take that EIN number and open up your business bank account. This is how you're going to keep your business and personal separate. I would say, to be completely honest, in the beginning of the business, most people will be like, keep it separate. Keep it separate. I made a mistake of merging everything together. Don't do that. Separate your business and personal from day one. Yeah, don't do that. Okay. First of all, it's kind of like illegal, I think. But keep your business and personal separate. I was like getting things mixed up because I was making deposits for my own cash into my business account and then paying my business bills for my personal account. No, keep everything separate. Open up a separate bank account, a separate checking and savings business bank account. That way your business, you can start showing all the transactions, pay all your business bills from your business account. Put your savings in your business savings. That way everything has a track record on your business account. So for tax purposes, everything is separate and it'll run a lot smoother. Trust me. All right. So yes. So once you get your business bank account set up, that is basically all the main things you've gotten. When it comes to your type of business, this is where the permits and the licenses may vary. Certain things require certain licensing, certain permits. So that is something that you would literally have to research depending on what you have. For instance, if you sell food and you're opening up a restaurant, you're going to need for any brick and mortar you open, you need an occupancy from your city. You need to make sure, like here in Georgia, I live in Columbus. So in Columbus, separate from the state, they require that you register your business in Columbus, which is an additional $75. But you register your business within the city, and then you get your occupational license. When it comes to opening up a restaurant, you gotta have like the health inspectors. You have to have the fire marshal come out to make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. There's a lot that goes into certain types of businesses. If you're doing a retail store, you may have to have a wholesaler's license to purchase certain things from wholesale, a vendor license. There's just a lot. It literally depends on what type of company you have, and that determines what type of license and permit you need. So that is something that you have to research for yourself depending on your company type. So next up is business credits. Now, I screwed this up bad in the beginning. Just to be clear, I messed up in the beginning. I tried to jump straight to like credit cards, and there is a system to building business credit. The first thing you want to do is you want to get your net 30s, which a net 30 is a payment to where you have to pay it within 30 days. You can order your stuff. Some companies like Uline, they'll give you a certain amount in the beginning. Like my beginning credit line was like $2,000 with Uline. And once I maxed that out, I had 30 days to pay all of that back in order to keep that flowing. It's just basically building a rapport with that company. I believe, who else has net 30s? Quill has net 30s. There are a few others. Those are all over YouTube of how to build business credit. But your first tier, of course, are your net 30s, net 60s, maybe even a secured credit card if a lot of them require a PG, which is a personal guarantee, which means they will run your credit. That's why they say start with the net 30s, because then that builds from there. And then from the net 30s, you want to graduate up to like the credit cards. And then from the credit cards, you graduate up to the bigger loans when it comes to expanding, hiring, and all that fun stuff. But there are steps that you do need to take. I tried to skip all over steps. My credit wasn't that great. So yeah, stick with the steps. Those steps are there for a reason. Start with your net 30s, then go to your credit cards. And once you get into the gist of paying all that on time, paying it off for like the first 6 months to a year. When it comes to business credit, you want to make sure you have built your credit correctly. It took me 3 years to learn this. Don't be like me, be like Steve. I don't know who Steve is. Steve will put a little stick figure guy that did it right and had all his credit cards and business loans, everything in place. He's paying everything off on time and in full. That's another thing. Do not use more debts, because that's all a credit card is. That's all a loan is. That's all a net 30 is. They're debts they're revolving debts that need to be paid off. It's just that simple. They are debt. So do not mishandle your debts, because not only will your personal credit be ruined, but your business credit can be easily messed up. Trust me, I've been down that road and have to clean up, and still having to clean up certain messes that I created in my beginning stages. So don't do that. There's a reason for these steps, so follow them. Also with the finances, when it comes to setting up, like depending on who you go through for your website, you can offer payment plans through Afterpay, payment plans through different types of account. You may want to set up a PayPal account. It's completely up to your discretion. You can set up a Stripe account. Stripe allows you to accept payments, have people set up like different payment plans through them. Only thing with Stripe if your sales are not consistent, it takes a long time for you to actually get the money. I think it took me, when I first signed up for Stripe and I had somebody pay through there, it took like 30 days for them to release the funds, which was weird. It's probably because I was new, very new with I didn't have them with my slime, but I had them with my other marketing and coaching business, and it was just weird. It was weird. But Stripe is nice because Stripe breaks down everything for you too. So I like Stripe. I use SquareUp for most of my POS stuff. Most of my profit loss statements and all that fun stuff goes through QuickBooks and SquareUp. So yeah, they have a lot of different things out there. PayPal has its own accounts, its own readers. QuickBooks has its own invoicing system. You got Stripe. There's so many other POS type systems. I would say you don't need all those systems until it comes to you making very large sales. I like Square sometimes. Square charges hella fees. And we'll just leave that at that. But I've been dealing with Square for the past 3 years, so I'm kind of biased to Square. I'm kind of biased when it comes to my website builds. I enjoy Squarespace, but that's off topic. But yeah, so that's basically it when it comes to business and finances and legal structure. So that is step 2. So make sure you click that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I think they got rid of the notification bell though. But if they didn't, make sure you click that too, so you'll know when I'm uploading, because like I said, there are no set days for my uploads. I'm just gonna record at least twice a week and publish it to you all for you all to see. All right, well, that's enough talking. I think that's long enough. I'll see y'all on the next video with step 3. Toodles.